Hello everyone, this is your chess friend here, and today we're going to be playing another quick game for you all. And I've decided to better organize the videos when I'm just playing the game, so I'm going to be calling them just analyzed game. This is going to be number 1, and then I'll keep numbering, like number 2 will be soon, and then yeah. Just to make it a bit easier to organize what videos are going to be just me playing and what videos are going to be, something else. So, this seems like a good opening for me, I would say. I've got 3 active pieces. He has... Whoa, that was a mistake. Okay, I misclicked, but that's not too bad. Bishop on e3 is still fine. Oops. Knight's attacking here, that's okay, but not too big a deal. I can just develop my bishop. Oops. Probably shouldn't have played bishop to e3. Okay, so here I'm going to capture, giving him doubled isolated pawns. Isolated pawns are pawns with no pawn on either file next to them. So that leads to these 2 pawns being pretty weak if he doesn't get to play e5 soon, which I don't think he will. So I'm just going to castle here. h3 next turn to stop knight g4, hitting the bishop. But even if he plays it, I can go bishop to f4, add another defender to the e5 square, and then chase the knight away next turn. Okay. This is interesting. He's trying to make me capture, obviously, so we can recapture towards the center, but that'll lead to him having a very strong center, so I'm not going to do that. I think it's better to just maybe even go a bit passive with bishop to d2 because there's no other place. I think I'll be fine though. Rook e1 targets the e6 pawn. He'll be forced to defend it. That's one way to defend it, so he's not doing bad. But I think I can still play rook e1, just having a nice attack, kind of. Also allows me to play knight to e5, which would be nice because if he recaptures and I recapture with the pawn. Actually, no, I can't play knight to e5 as the d4 pawn hangs. But maybe in a few moves. If this knight captures and the bishop captures, then there'll be a defender on the pawn. So I think this should be okay at least. Materials equal. He's definitely has more space than me because of his knight on d5, pushing all my pawns. Wow. Okay, so he's castling towards the queen side, sorry, which allows me to play knight to e5 because if he captures the pawn, I can play knight to e5. I can play knight to e5 because if he captures the pawn, I can move to f7 with a fork, which I could have done last move, but I didn't see it, so that's my excuse. If he does capture, I think I'll be fine. Pretty happy, actually, just having a nice center. I'll have a non-isolated pawn. His pawns will be isolated, and they'll be blockaded with... I'll have more space, too, because these pawns will be stuck back here. So I think this is a good move. And if he doesn't recapture, let's see, what else could he play? I think he's gonna have to recapture because he can't stop both of these threats at once. Because if I capture on c6, that's still good for me. Whoa, that's a blunder, dude. Okay, so he blundered. I'm just gonna double check that from here. Yeah, knight's targeting both of these pieces, so I'm just gonna be winning material. That's okay. That's good. Your opponent will basically blunder in every game, at least somewhat. So if you just play better than them, they'll end up blundering, and you'll win. So just don't get discouraged when you blunder, and capitalize when your opponent blunders. And that's just the best advice anyone can give you. Although it seems like the knight's going to be taking here next turn. So I don't really want to play rook takes e6 because, like I said, after the knight takes here, he'll have tempo on the rook. So I think it's better to play bishop to e3. If he captures, I can capture towards the towards the center. That leaves me with a much better center, but also kind of a weak king side because I'll only have 2 pawns here to defend it. And he already has this like x-ray with his rook. So I think it might be better to play just capture with the bishop. If he captures here, he'll have his center repaired, but I'm still up material. So basically if I can just simplify the position, I'm gonna win. So my goal is to trade off as many pieces as possible, and this is a good way to do that. Okay. Queen to d5, huh? It's interesting. Interesting move. I can't say anything else. I think queen to f3 is good then. It'll... If he trades, obviously our king side gets very weak, but it's not too easy to attack a king side without a queen. Although I do think it's better to just play bishop to c3, developing the bishop back again, and it doesn't block the e file as it would on e3. So I think this is just an okay move. Also adds 2 defenders to the pawn when he has 2 attackers on the pawn, so that's nice. And then next turn we can play queen to f4. Actually, no, we're going to play d takes e5, adds an x-ray to the queen, and it captures the pawn. So that's a very nice move. So we're just winning a pawn here, I think, unless if I'm missing something, which I don't think I am, but it's possible that I am. If queen takes, rook takes, and we've just got a very powerful attack. Our rooks are working together and our bishop's on a nice square. Okay, so we get to trade queens, which since we take and he has to recapture, it's like we gained a tempo, because now we can play rook to d1. And it's like he captured, except for the difference is this pawn is, well, the difference is this pawn moved to here. But that's not a big difference. We'll be able to push this pawn and promote eventually. I think we're just fine though. If we trade pieces, we're gonna win. He doesn't really have anything going for him here. So he's given us a pawn. Thanks. Just making sure there's nothing I'm missing, but it doesn't look like it. I mean, he might go rook to f8, although we move here with tempo because we're attacking the bishop, so bishop's gonna be moving away, or b6 is coming, but either way we're fine, yeah. I could push the pawn, but there isn't really a reason to, I guess. Let's think about this one. Let's think this through. I could play rook to d1 and then bishop b4, but there's really no reason to. I don't see one, at least. I think I'm just going to play e6, trying to push. If he plays rook f8, we can play rook to e2, defending, and also getting our rook a little bit of a better square where it can kind of lock down the position if necessary. We're a little weak to the back rank checkmates, which are like having a rook on any of these squares. Well, any of these squares can lead to a checkmate, but that's probably not happening. I could... No. If I go here, the knight can simply take, or he could take... Oh, he's trying to take with the bishop to deliver a check, winning the rook, but that's not happening. I mean, it's not a very logical goal. Obviously, I'm not going to blunder that, but... I mean, you gotta at least hope that your opponent blunders, right? I mean, he's at the point where he doesn't really have any plans left. He's down 4 points in material, so... With 2 pawns and an extra rook for a knight, I think I'm doing good, especially with how weak his knight is. His knight can't move to any of these squares because of 1 bishop, so which is just piercing through his entire position. He's going to go g4, g3. h3 just stops his plan entirely, and then I could go king h1, f3 later if I somehow add another defender to the f3 pawn. Knight's moving to e7. I could go rook to d7. Seems like a good move, just putting some pressure on there and then letting me play e7 next turn. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. Actually, it doesn't let me play it lets me play e7 next turn. I was worried about pushing and then king takes, but then I can take his rook, so I get a queen and I capture his rook, so that'll be fine. Let's think where he's trying to go. Probably something like d5? No, f5. Huh. What happens if I move here? Let's see. So bishop takes, rook takes, knight takes, rook takes. I trade a pawn and a rook for 2 pieces, and I'm just up a piece at that point, so that's fine. If I go forward and king takes, I take the rook. He recaptures, but I've just traded off a rook, so I'm happy there. But I do lose my nice pawn. So yeah, I think we're doing fine. I think e7 is good. We lose the pawn, which is so promising, but we're gonna be fine here either way. So I think it's just okay to push it forward. Kind of provoking him to make a bad move, but if he makes the best move, it'll be fine. I think if he doesn't make the best move, then we're gonna win a bit easier. So well, I'm confident that we've got this, even with our kind of low time. No, we've got a nice amount of time. We'll do fine. Just capture with the rook. And we're gonna capture with this rook just so that I don't have to calculate any king takes shenanigans. Yep. Bishop takes, rook takes, and then from here we're very easily winning. If we, play rook to d8. Oops, sorry, rook to d8. It's pretty simple. We can play the rook to e1, stopping any back ranks for now, and the bishop stopping him from going to d2. So for now, we're just fine. Especially with h2 already played, our king can escape if anything happens. So we'll be fine here. I don't know what he's trying to do with rook to d5, but I'm gonna play a3 to kind of protect the bishop and stop. Well, no, rook to a5 wasn't happening. I don't know. I just thought it would be an okay move. Kind of want to play rook to e2. Then that's it. I just kind of want to play rook to e2. There's no real reason not to. If he delivers a check, king goes to h2, and if he doesn't, then rook to d2. Yep. He doesn't have anything. He can try to go to c1 or f1, but yeah, that's his best move. So I'm just gonna offer a trade of rooks, which he shouldn't accept, obviously, but he might. Nope. He's gonna go to f3. Okay, our pawn's gonna move up then. That's okay for us. It was already defended, but this way we get to move it up, and that's important. Obviously, if you're trying to win, gotta move your pawns up. From here, I think rook to e2 is the best move. We're gonna go to e6. Yeah, we're gonna go to e6, delivering like not a check, but yep. He's gonna try. I don't know what he's trying, but we're gonna win the h6 pawn, or we're gonna trade rooks. Either one is really good for me. So, yep, he's decided that I can have the h6 pawn. I don't know. I think we're just winning this. He doesn't really have anything. He could probably resign here. I wouldn't blame him. Since we're already up 2 pawns and a rook. He's gonna try rook to c1. That's my guess. I'm gonna try rook to take the c7 pawn. Nope, he doesn't want to let me do that. That's understandable, obviously. No one wants to let their pawns get captured. We're gonna go rook to g7 to take the g5 pawn, which you can only defend with rook to d5, which severely weakens his rook, yeah. And then we're gonna go here, getting ready to scoop up all the pawns as soon as he lets us. I think we could go bishop to b4 later, well, next turn, with check. It moves him away 1 square, which isn't huge, but it's pretty useful. Actually, bishop to g6 looks very, very fun. Taking the pawn, but it also has a skewer, meaning that he has to capture or move to d5 because he can't move the rook away or his king hangs. So that's nice. We're gonna win a pawn here, usually. No, we always win a pawn, even if From here, we're gonna go rook takes g5. He wants to capture here, but then his king's in danger, so we can just trade off, and from here we're gonna win easily. Let's go bishop to d2, stopping his king from entering our position, and then simply h4. We can just push this pawn. We don't really need to think too hard. As soon as his king starts to run away, we can run over. Okay. Oh, well, if he's gonna give us a pawn, it's no real reason not to take it, right? Okay, and then from here, his king is secluded from ever moving forward. He's just gonna have to retreat. A good way to guarantee that you're not stalemating your opponent is to kind of make it simple. Like, I'm just trying to simplify so that I only have a queen on the board. And that'll make the checkmate very, like, more simple. We're gonna go to f8. I mean, we have time, so there's really no reason we could lose this game. The worst we can do is stalemate, but we're not gonna do that because we're just gonna keep checking him every turn. This allows him to take on c2, but that's no big deal for me. So, check. Okay, he still has a2, so we can safely go queen to d2, limiting him to 2 possible squares that he has to keep moving back and forth to. Okay, he's down to 2 squares, which means our king can simply move in. He can resign at this point. There's really no reason to keep playing. I'm gonna win this. Yep. And then we're just going to deliver checkmate with the queen. So all we really needed was something to defend the queen, so we brought the king to do that. Well, thanks for watching. This is kind of a long video, but bye. Oh yeah, sorry, one more thing. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I'm gonna be, like I said, I'm gonna be naming the videos by number now, like the games we play. So I hope you learned something. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share the video with your friends. See you guys next time. Bye.